Frank, let's just pick it up from where we left off, which is the concerning debts and deficits that we are having here in Canada, and how we might try to even get out of that, specifically if growth is in fact slower. Do you think that this is going to be so key for Canadians to realize what this might mean for our future if we don't get a handle on that? Do you think that that's going to be a key election issue?
No, I don't. You and I might be the only two people in the country that seem to be concerned about debts and deficits right now. In fact, the Conservative leader and the Conservative Party, like the Republican Party, has historically been associated with fiscal prudence. He's saying that it would take some 10 years to balance the budget. And he's talking about generous transfers on healthcare and so on. So this seems to be off of the agenda of most people in this country and around the world. But I want to take people back in time a little bit to say why it's so important. We're spending a lot of money during this pandemic, massive amounts, hundreds of billions of dollars, which has kept individuals and companies and the country afloat. But back in the early 1990s, Canada was in a fiscal mess. It was indicated by the Wall Street Journal that we were getting into the territory of being a banana republic. We panicked. We dealt with it. I was on the receiving end of a lot of federal cutbacks. We ended up balancing the budgets, lowering the debt service costs, putting in Canada in an enviable situation, which is why today we can spend money without impugning our credit rating on pandemic recovery. My argument is that you don't get to do that too many times. It's always good to have to have a nest egg and to be able to spend it now like we are. And so at the present time, we need to think about how we're going to restore that nest egg and make sure that Canada's fiscal credibility continues to remain high.
And it should be of a key concern, and I hope more and more people will start paying attention to it, because it is about not only the future, it really is going to be about today, particularly as it relates to the relative value of Canada versus the United States. If in fact we do fall behind, we could see the Canadian dollar decline. We're importing even more inflation. So these are important items. Let's take a look at one file in particular, which is energy. And when we think about the amount of dollars that energy contributes to the Canadian economy, and because of all the difficulties within the energy sector over the past number of years, we're still producing 4 million barrels per day versus what we could be doing 4.5, 5. We've been giving that energy file away to dissident nations. What do you say to that? And would that not be a solution or a partial solution to the debt and deficits that we're incurring?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's a major contributor to our national prosperity and could be an even bigger contributor. But unfortunately, we've always been constrained by pipeline egress, and that continues to be the case somewhat today. Meanwhile, other countries in the world that I can assure you have no respect for democracy, and or for that matter for environmental considerations, are filling the void. So I think it would be in the national interest if we could allow Canada to fill the energy void, which the United States right now is calling on OPEC countries to do. If we could fill some of those energy requirements and balance climate change issues and energy production, as only Canada can do it. We have, in my humble submission, the greatest single laboratory in the world taking place in Western Canada on energy conservation and energy technologies. And we should be proud of that. And we should be proud of the fact that we can extract a good economic rent from these resources and still do good for the planet.
But what would you say to Trudeau then? Because he seems to, turn away from those facts and to the detriment of the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I don't think his rhetoric matches the reality. I think because of political considerations in central Canada, he may be afraid to talk about it a little bit. But the current government did put their shoulder to the wheel to get Trans Mountain built by actually owning it as taxpayers. So that's pretty major. And he's been on the right side of Keystone XL, turned down by the United States of America. Enbridge number 3 is about to come into service, which will add a lot more pipeline capacity. But we're at risk on Enbridge number 5. And that's going to cut right into the heartland of Canada, into Ontario and Quebec. And I think we have a very real threat there. And the Prime Minister, I know, is working the file hard. But at this stage, we're not making a lot of progress with the United States of America on that file.
Well, and interestingly as well, because when President Biden came out and called on OPEC to increase oil supply, where's the call into Biden from Trudeau as it relates to we've got oil? So I'm going to get your response to that and our foreign policy when we return. We'll take a quick break.
Okay.